Hello, everybody. Welcome to wasmCloud Wednesday for Wednesday, May the 7th. We have got a pretty quick agenda for today. So quick, we didn't even put it up on the website, which is awesome. So just a couple quick discussion items and things to call out. I think that it would be good to just go over the roadmap since we're into May. I guess yeah. Since now we're into May, so it'd be good to just touch base on it. But first, I have a bit of an update. Light mode incoming, so watch out, everybody. Hmm. On the CNCF blog earlier, or it was actually last week, but after the community call, when we had a discussion around the NATS project and where wasmCloud stands, of course, to reiterate that we stand with the CNCF, with open with open source software. wasmCloud will always be Apache 2. And it looks that for the future of the NATS project, it will also be Apache 2, and the trademark will be under the CNCF. Now, I don't think that there's really any plans to essentially, this is basically what it was before. I know that there was a lot of concern around the future of NATS. So there are definitely places in wasmCloud where we are I would say like accelerating where we're pushing transport agnostic stuff like on wRPC to be able to use QUIC and QUIC and TCP in Unix domain sockets. And then on the control interface, for example, to have some different options, especially in places where NATS doesn't always play really well. So, for example, if you're running in Kubernetes, maybe it would be really nice to have the state store be etcd and, do the control interface over HTTP. I'm just mentioning random things. I'm not saying that we are rushing on that, but really it is interesting to be able to explore the best transport for the scenario that wasmCloud needs at that time. So, plenty more to talk about there. Yeah. I guess you know, Masood, I think that's a pretty valid comment. And I don't really, we have a really good relationship with Synadia. I mean, we've been power users of NATS for so long. I think that this definitely is it, I wish that we kind of didn't go through this back and forth just to get to NAT staying in the CNCF. I can understand some of the frustrations on Synadia's side, but really, to sum it up, I'm just happy that we don't have to be really concerned about NATS exiting the CNCF, and we can move forward doing the things we've been doing and just continuing to try to be the best WebAssembly project that we can be. Do folks have any other comments on the? I've linked this blog post in the Zoom, but if you Google, CNCF and Synadia and NATS, it's one of the first things that comes up. Do folks have any questions or comments here? I kind of just want to mention this one, and then hopefully we don't even have to worry about it again. Righty. Sweet. Just wanted to bring that to the attention of anybody who's paying attention to the calls who maybe like missed some of the or following the NAT side. Really, I think other than that, I think it'd be great to just take a look at the roadmap so far. We brainstormed. We got quite a couple of issues put into this roadmap. A lot of them were already filed as issues on the open source board or on the like wasmCloud issue board. It wasn't a lot that actually came in net new. So taking a look, excuse me, taking a look at some of the status of these. Um, Regarding wRPC error handling. So for custom interfaces, I know, Eric, I think you actually have a PR up for this and you're just waiting on a review or a check mark. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
All right. As usual, can't trust any task taken by Eric to not get done immediately. So this is great. We should be able to push this forward to be one of the first completed tickets from this roadmap. As far as the things that are in ready for work, there's quite a few in the good first issue category. I think Rabel, you actually, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing Rabel or Rabel. Actually, looks like we have a pull request up for this, which is great. Let me go ahead and move this into in progress. But this one, this community member and wasmCloud contributor had come in and like left a proposal for how they would want to fix it. We assigned the issue to them, which is great. It's exactly what I want to be happening with this good first issue column. So we've got quite a few in there which are ready at any time for folks to take as new or returning contributors. As far as the development side, it looks like we have a couple in here that are ready for work as well for anybody, excuse me, for anybody who is a little bit more familiar with the wasmCloud ecosystem. So being able to do some diagnostics around the NATS provider, the Git inventory state, the using environment variables for Blobstore S3, and then a somewhat larger feature, but one that will be or maybe slightly larger in code familiarity requirement, but dropping the use of the wash directory by using the XTG base directory specification. This one's still it's a feature request, but open for comments as well. As far as the things that are not in ready for work, let's see if we can move any of those over. The RFC to pluginify wash. Let's see, I don't know if Taylor is actually here, but I know that we've been sitting on that RFC for a little bit. I think I think this one is probably not ready to take on the maintainer side. There's still some things to discuss and to POC, I think, on that story. So we'll leave that one here for now. Workload identity in wasmCloud. I know we have put this in triage because we wanted to determine the future of this feature. There's that open pull request on the Spiffy or Spire repository that might change the way that we do workload identity. So TBD, workload identity also, especially for NATS connections or connections to the lattice, very much depends on the auth callout feature of NATS. So again, very nice to have something that very nice to have a little bit more alignment that we can just move forward with something like that. And then deep design exploration of HTTP came from our road mapping session. Lucas, actually, I think we brainstormed this one together. But really, this is around, excuse me, this is around, sorry, I don't know what happened. This is around just deeply exploring the HTTP use case, end-to-end component, HTTP for built-in providers, external providers, and just really make sure that it is solid and we can catch errors, we can surface errors in a way that's easy to understand for people to diagnose, things like that. So that's I suppose this is ready for the taking. I'll go ahead and mark this one as ready for work. I don't think that there's more decisions to be made before we get started. It would be best taken, I think, by a maintainer or someone who's been working with wasmCloud for a little while to help understand like where are the different failure points, how can we best use tracing to diagnose issues, things like that. CI doesn't run when it should. This one I think is actually an open question. Hello, Lachlan, you're here. This one, I was looking at this. This happened right around the time that we ordered some of our CI to only run when specific things change. So like, we only run the wash CI if you change cargo.toml or something in the wash directory. Looks like Roman specifically called out something around the secrets NATS KV implementation that's not triggering properly. Is this still an issue, or is this like a
I It has
general?
not been fixed. It has not been looked at or anything, so I'm assuming so. If you scroll up a little bit, I think I just if- yeah, that comment there. Um, Basically, it's just not running. The secrets NATS KV is not a provider, so it doesn't actually get run um, in this piece. Specifically when the Nix flake changed. Um, so yeah, basically we need to put it back in there or make this workflow, this NATS KV workflow, more like the provider based workflow or included in that. I'm not sure which is better, but it, yeah, basically is just not running when the flake changes.
Okay. Um, all right. Then this is probably this is probably a really quick one. Um, I would say that we should put this one into ready for work and good
Yeah,
first issue because
agreed.
it's yeah, okay. Great. I originally put it under development because I thought that we might have like, a broader CI thing to resolve. Um,
Yeah, I think the quick fix is to just add the flake Nix and lock files to that changed piece, and then it should cover everything. But the longer term thing is we do probably want to look at how we can make. I think the larger one is like, how do we make this so that it doesn't happen again for anything new that gets added? And I'm not sure what the answer is on that. So if anyone has proposals, has ideas on managing the pipelines, managing how things get triggered and all that sort of stuff, I'm happy to have an RFC um, discussion. However, we want to organize that. That's open for suggestions there for sure.
yeah. Um, awesome. And then last one is the host configuration file. I really don't think that this would be a stale bot. Um, I really don't think that this one will be too hard to implement. The reason why it's in triage, I think, is just deciding on the which means it's properly in development, but reason why it'd be in triage is the design of the host configuration file, I think, is something that's probably best taken by a maintainer. I mean, we have a lot of different options for this. I'm not tied to any particular format, the YAML, POML, whatever JSON of the world. Um, I think that being able to set all of the existing flags and environment variables that we have just inside the config file would be the first step. But there's also other configuration pieces that we should be able to give to the host as well. I think we should probably decide on a scope for this one. I'm thinking, for example, you could configure a host to always, start with a specific configuration. Maybe you give it a WASM file or just a bit, or we even make it simpler. It's just like a list of providers to start when the host starts. Things like that are all kind of in scope for what a host configuration file could be. The goal, we run wasmCloud hosts in a lot of different environments, sometimes just bare metal, sometimes on a little edge device, sometimes in Kubernetes. It'd be really nice to just like have a single config file so that you can just execute the binary or the container, pass it the file, call it done. That would be really nice for just like a reproducible environment too, not to miss anything. So a little bit more there. I will touch base. Let's see, who filed this? I filed this. I will touch base with me. I will touch base with Jonas, who I think wanted to take the lead on the initial proposal here, and just see where we're at with this one. I don't think it's really urgent. It's kind of a nice to have, but we'll just get the status on that. So yeah, I think that that's all on the wasmCloud roadmap for Q2. I think that we have a couple of outstanding things from Q1 that we probably need to either close out or move over. So I'll take a look at what needs to transition. Masood, I see in the chat you mentioned outgoing HTTP client tracing, which I believe was an issue from the Q1 roadmap. Is there anything that we needed to talk about here for your
No, I'm just saying that because when I was doing it, I could not understand all the dependencies. As you know, HTTP in particular is a rabbit hole when it comes to how many hoops it jumps through. And that's why I started from the runtime and added tracing debugging messages and there's all the way to the actual client. So if you turn on debugging after this, both for internal and external, if you turn that on, then you should see, as it passes through different function calls and modules, which I think, because what you were talking about, I thought that this would be related. That's why I added that comment.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the context. I think it's very related. Just like you said, being able to, even just with Rust tracing in the logs, it's nice for that. But having this also exported to OTel and everything, it'd be really nice when um say one of the issues that we have right now is with a specific configuration, you send an outgoing HTTP request to some site and it hangs, right? It's really, really useful to know, did this hang at the runtime layer? Did this hang when it hit the provider? Did it hang because like we actually just got a 404, never responded from the website? I think this is super, super nice. And it looks like the way that you've
I think
refactored.
hotel, oh, sorry, I think hotel is included
Mhm.
all the functions and those. So that from a tracing perspective, it's observable, and from like Rust tracing perspective, it can be logged all in the wasmCloud log, and you can see exactly how things passing through.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's really great. Um, I think the only other thing I was going to say is that in the PR, I saw you've done a little bit of refactors for reusability, which is really great. I'm really glad that you've been taking a look at this and trying to get it so that we can have just like one piece of code for the HTTP client, whether it's built in or external. Really nice. Okay.
There is duplication, but that part is only where those things differ.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, well, hey, uh, I think that's really all that we had today. Um, we've got some free time. Do folks have anything that they wanted to discuss from the Wasm Cloud community, WebAssembly ecosystem, or just generally?
I do have a question about one of the issues. I haven't raised my hand.
No, you go ahead. Virtual hand raise.
I saw you open the feature for turning the events to enum. I wanted to find out, are you working on that?
Yeah, so no, I
The
have.
reason is that I wanted to see if I I could pick it up, but it wasn't really clear if you're actively working on it or you're just proposing it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm not actively working on it, just proposing it. Um, really what we saw, or what I saw after creating this PR, where we have an event publisher, just a simple abstraction for publishing events, is that it basically not assuming that we're publishing to a NATS topic, but letting you use any implementation. Basically, and GitHub is going to have a hard time here because big PR. It's of limited use, or limited usability the way that we currently have this implemented. So the event publisher is just an event. When we publish an event, it's an event name and then a ready to serialize SRD JSON value. And that's because, when we generate something like a component scaled event, our constructor is, hey, give me the claims, annotations, host ID, all the information that we need for the events. And then we create that JSON structure. But what would be really nice instead of having this is having a concrete event type, where the component scaled event includes all of these different fields. That would make it a whole lot easier for implementers of this trait to match on the event and do something with it. We may not even need the event name if we can turn the enum into a string. Yeah, Masood, I think this one is anyone is welcome to take it. I haven't started on it. I should probably get this PR merged in to aid in the development of that, but I think it's pretty ready to go. Did you have any questions on, or have you seen the way that Wasm implements this with like a trait for getting the event name, and then how Wasm does um, the the
No,
derived to convert it to
I did
the
not do any investigations.
okay.
But I saw it and then I thought that it makes sense.
Mhm.
And the only question that came to my mind was that, do we know what those events are? Like, do we have a list, or I need to kind of fish it out of the host?
Yep. Yeah. Great question. We do have a list. It will be the list is moderately documented on the website, but
I have
the
seen that.
mhm.
Uh, so
That one's
I was just kind of wondering that if that's up to date, or I need to kind of make sure that there are no deltas.
Yeah, no, great question. There might be some delta. There shouldn't be much, but it's possible. But the entire list of events is in this event.rs file, corresponding to like all of the different public methods that we have here. Um, I believe that this is all that we have. It'll be easy to search all of the different places where we call publish event to find it.
Okay.
Um, if
That's a
there
good.
are, sorry, Mr.
No, I'm just saying that that's a good clue. Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. If there's any delta between this and the documentation too, you know, please let us know. Always welcome to open a PR to the doc site and everything, but just to make sure we're totally up to date.
Sure. So I picked that up.
All right, nice. Well, all righty. I think that that might be all for today's wasmCloud Wednesday. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming, hanging out, talking wasmCloud. Glad to just kind of keep pushing forward all the stuff that we have on the roadmap. So, as always, if you have any questions about an open issue that you are interested in taking, feel free to reach out to any of the maintainers, myself included, for some initial pointers or guidance. And otherwise, um, yeah. Have a great week, everybody. Have a wasmCloud day. See you next time.